Hey, what's going on, guys? This is going to be the out-of-box review for the HG Build Divers Geara Ghirarga, the blue version of the Ghirarga featured from the HG Gundam Age line. And yeah, as you guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a little while, I've recently kind of just come to the realization that I'm just not really into all blue mobile suits, especially if it's like this particular shade of just bright blue. I mean, stuff like if it's like the Goof Custom or something, it's in a more interesting, just kind of like light blue. I don't know, I'd have less problem with that, but I don't know. Color aside, I do actually really like this kit. Just even though it is that blue that I'm not really too big of a fan of, I think this kit is pretty dang cool. If you're looking for something just more interesting, it just has a kind of more unique feel to it. I definitely think this is an improvement over the original kit as well. I think just the new parts added for this kit make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more fresh than the original kit. That said, I've only ever heard good things about the original kit, so I don't think you could really go wrong with that one either. I just think that this one is probably the better buy if you were looking to get one. You're kind of between the two. You could always paint this in that kind of orangish reddish color that the other kit is if you really prefer that color scheme. Now, getting into actually painting the kit, this kit does have a fair amount of seam lines and things that will make it a little bit more difficult to paint, but it's definitely very doable, obviously, of course. Nice thing is that all the little links to the tail slash whip are all individual pieces that are not sandwiched together. So it really would have been terrible if you would have had to do like seam line removal on every single one of those 20 some odd parts, I think it is, in the tail. That would have been really bad. But fortunately, we don't have to, so that definitely makes this nicer than the Master Grade Epyon or Tallgeese 3, which has that problem. So as always, guys, huge thank you to SA Gundam Store for sponsoring this review. Do check the link to their site down below, and you can get this kit and many other things there for 10% off with the coupon code there, ZakuAurelius10. So let's talk about what all you get with this kit, and I'll try not to bump the camera. The first things, which I guess could be on the kit now, I'm just kind of keeping these as like an extra thing, I suppose, even though they're typically seen on the kit, but you don't have to include them. So these are the extra effect parts, which will go here in the backpack. You'll just open this part up. Open up like that, and these just plug into there like so for that part at the back. But again, you don't have to include that, so I'm just sort of counting that as an accessory. And then aside from the open hands, which we have on this kit, we have a couple of closed hand options. Now, we have one with just a big straight hole through the middle, and then one with a little like thing there in the center of that, and that's new for this kit. And what makes that different is for holding the spear. Now here we have the spear, which has the stickers which wrap around that, which don't look too bad. I think if you want to use the stickers for them, otherwise painting that would probably look pretty nice as well. You have the two halves, and you think these like fit together or something, right? Like that, but actually they don't. What you do is you take the hand, where is it? The hand with that line bit there through the center of that, and this will just kind of slot into that. So these new hands are specifically for holding this spear, and you don't actually have to hold both ends in there. You can just hold one, and you can have like one half in each hand, but you can alternatively just plug the two halves into the same hand like that, and it just holds it straight in the center. Now, if you didn't want to hold it in the center and you wanted to hold it differently, you can use just this open hand, but it doesn't hold it straight. You have to set it at like an angle, and you can have it just kind of holding these separately in just the extra hand if you wanted to do something like that. So that is an option as well. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for the accessories. It has the whip, which is just its tail there that comes off, and you can use that. There's a handful of leftover parts of this kit. Here we have this part here, which could be used as a beam saber handle if you want. You would have to get some sort of blade that would fit into there. It's a little bit different size. We could use that. You also have an extra end of the tail, which, as you can see, I didn't remove the nubs on, but this is just the same parts that are used for the end of the tail. If you wanted to, just make your own little rod here to go in between that. You could make this into, I think, a really cool, just nice little dagger or something that you could do with that with very minimal work. But otherwise, those are only real like notable leftover parts from the kit. Now let's talk about some of the articulation. So you'll notice here on the chest, these light blue parts there are actually stickers. This whole part that is actually yellow, that same yellow that you see there on the side, these parts and the part on the top are also yellow, but they're covered up with the light blue stickers. There's also a sticker here for inside that little bit. That's a clear part, but you get the shiny blue sticker to go over the top of that. I did put the sticker on, so you can see it does look pretty alright there. If you did want to just leave the clear part, it's going to be just a very dark clear part. I would recommend painting the back, the inside of that, to make it a little bit more shiny, but I just use the sticker just for the sake of the review for the time being. For the head, we got little yellow stickers there for the little accent there on the side of the head. That sticker fits on there pretty well, again, and I think it's passable if you aren't painting the kit. And then we have a sticker for the eyes. Now, that's the parts fit together very nicely, so that sticker is actually larger than what you see there, But as the parts fit together, you're only seeing just a little line of that green sticker there for the eyes. It's not really eyes, but they're for the face. And it looks really cool the way the parts fit together, and the sticker just is barely seen through there. It ends up looking very, very nice, so I do like that quite a bit. So as for the head articulation, as you can see, it can go up to there, which is pretty good, and then down to there, all very nice. This kind of fin, the fins here on the back of the head are also kind of on a joint there. There's like you can move that around a little bit. It's not really meant to do anything really with that, and as you can see, if you move it around too much, it will fall off. But I believe that's just kind of leftover from the original kit, as the head is kind of made up of some parts from the original kit and some new parts. Obviously, this new, very strange looking horn on the top of the head is a new part as well. As for the shoulders, they will pull out to the front a little bit. You can bring the shoulder up and the arm up to about 90 degrees, and that's going to be about the extent of the upward reach of the shoulder, unfortunately. Now the arm will rotate there at the top, and then the double joint there in the elbow will give you not a complete bend, but definitely more than 90 degrees, so that's pretty good. The hand is just on a ball joint, and actually in the open hands, we have this little gun barrel in there, which can be slightly moved. It can like be pointed outwards a little bit more like that if you want to have it so it actually looks like it's firing. That is just a beam Vulcan gun there in the hand. So it's a pretty cool little thing to add to the hands, which are already very unique and cool looking. I think it's kind of interesting that they're symmetrical rather than being asymmetrical and having just a thumb and then just normal fingers, but it actually kind of has like 2 thumbs and then 3 fingers in the center. It's unique. The waist is just on a ball joint, so you can turn that around. You can move it kind of forward and back and to the side a little bit there. You also have another joint, which is like up in the middle section, which will give you a little bit of a bend. So as far as like any stomach crunch, you have a little bit of that, but really not too much. Around here on the backpack, these kind of pod things are just on ball joints, so those can also be moved around and rotated as you need, but really aren't going to really be doing too much with those, as those aren't like weapons or don't have any funnels or anything in there. They're just kind of there on the back. These front skirt bits will move up and down a little bit like so, and then the same thing here with these back skirt bits like that. The hips are just on a ball and socket joint, so you're only going to be able to get the legs spread out to about there, which is really not all too bad considering. So you're not going to have any rotation there at the top of the thigh, but we do have a nice knee bend here, a nice double joint in the knee. And yeah, this part here does not want to stay on at all. It keeps falling off, and I would definitely recommend gluing that part, because even with like nothing, if I barely touch that, it's gonna fall off. But anyway, the point is you do have a really nice knee bend there, and if I can just not keep that part on. New parts for the leg do look really cool, and the extra little clear bits there on the front of the knee, very unique. Down here for the ankle, the front and the back of the foot actually move independently, so you can move those like side to side like that. But you can, as you can see, you can get a pretty good, nice bend side to side out of those parts there for the feet. Even though the toe is a separate part there, it unfortunately doesn't bend up or down at all, so you'll only be able to bend this back to there where these yellow parts in the back are almost clashing. It's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good downward point, and then forward to there. Up underneath the feet, some nice detail. You do have a little bit of a hollow gap there, but otherwise it's not too bad. And then of course the tail can be detached. You just pull it out there, and as you can see, there's the handle. If you saw the unboxing, you saw the kit does come with a wire that just is strung through there, and I found it's a little bit just slightly too long. As you'll notice, like when it gets up here to the top, I've got a little bit of a gap there. I could maybe would have had to trim that or something, but it's malleable, and then you can bend that around in different ways and make the whip doing cool stuff. You will have to like align the parts, and these bits here, sorry about that, these don't have any way to like line up together, so as you're moving the kit around, as you're moving the tail around, some bits will get like turned around like that, and it looks weird, and you have to fix that, and then you have to fix that, and you have to fix this over here. But overall, it's a really cool thing. It's a very unique accessory that we don't see very often in terms of Gundam kits, so it's nice to see something cool like this. And again, no seam lines to have to worry about on all these little parts, so that's good. The other thing that's cool about this is that it's quite long. Let me just check the distance for you. It's about 27 centimeters long. Alternatively, for those of you in the US, it's about just shy of 11 inches. So very, very long. The thing about that is that you want the wire to be strong enough to actually support the weight, 'cause if you have it so long, then it's going to be heavier. But it does seem pretty good if I can keep the end from coming off. Here's the other problem too, is that it doesn't really have anything to plug into firmly in the end. So if that comes off, then you have the risk of kind of all of the links coming off, because there's nothing stopping them at that point. So do want to be a little bit careful with that. But anyway, as I was saying, as you can see at full extension there, it's kind of drooping down. It's a little bit bouncy there, of course, but it's certainly not just completely falling down like that, so it's not too bad. So one thing that I'll say about this kit is that the articulation is quite good, and that does make it actually a really fun kit to pose, just because of just how unique it looks, I think, and especially the tail helps a lot in creating some really cool poses with this kit. But just all of that combined, really cool look, nice articulation, and some very dynamic features of the design make it a really cool looking kit when it's posed up in some action poses. So I would definitely recommend getting some sort of action base for this, to put this up on, to get it airborne and get some cool poses. I'm sure you could get some nice ground based poses too, but something like this, you kind of want to see it flying, right? And definitely the yellow parts as well also make for really nice accents in there. On the back of the leg, sort of looks like teeth, though. Every time I look at the back of the leg, it looks like sort of upper and lower teeth mashing there on the back. But definitely the yellow does work really well to break up the all blue of this kit. If those were even like white or something, that would have helped a little bit, but still, like, white is just being such like a neutral color that yellow just really pops in there. So just the overall look of this kit, despite it being a color that I don't typically like too much, I actually really like the look of this one quite a bit. Now that said, the clear blue parts are quite nice, but they do kind of get lost a little bit, I feel like, amongst the bright blue and yellow accents of everything else. The clear blue should be a nice, like, really kind of bright focal point of the kits, but they're not really all that noticeable. I feel like if those were in a different color, I'm not exactly even sure what, but any kind of like color that might make them look a little bit brighter, I think would definitely be cool. It also maybe depends on like how you have the kit displayed, how you have it lit, would make those visible or not, just because of the fact they're clear dark blue, and so they're not really gonna pop all that much. But when you are taking the time to notice them, they are really interestingly shaped, very cool, unique, with all this kind of like hook shape going on with everything. It's a pretty overall well-designed readaptation of this mobile suit, I think. On the negative side, there are quite a few seams around on the kit in many places. As you saw, there's a handful of stickers, really not too bad in terms of stickers for an HG. It's pretty average. There's just a fair amount of on there. It's not super excessive in terms of the stickers. Stability issues, color separation is all actually quite good, and the amount of weapons and accessories that you get, relatively basic, but the kit is overall itself kind of large and complex kit, and especially just the uniqueness of the tail, having the wire for that, and like I said, it's around 20 or so pieces in there for the tail, so it's quite long and quite complex, so I don't think it really needed too much more anything else in the box. Really, honestly, I think the biggest negative of this kit really is just the amount of seams on it, which, it being an HG, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, but just keep that in mind if you are planning on painting the kit. You will have definitely some work ahead of you in removing the seam lines on the kit. And lastly, concerning the price, the list price of 1,800 yen, I feel like is pretty spot on for this kit. I think that probably is just about right. It's, like I said, it's a little bit larger, and I'll give you a size comparison here in a moment, but just because of that, and it's a fair amount of complexity in terms of part separation, and of course just the engineering of everything, clear parts and all of that, I think that price is pretty good. And for a quick size comparison here, you can see it compared to your average size 1/44 scale Gundam, and as you can see, it's pretty tall, so it's definitely a little bit larger as far as HG kits go. So with that, guys, hopefully this review has been helpful for any of you who are looking for some more information on this kit. If you haven't got it yet, or if you're looking to get it, or if you got it, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. If you have any further questions or comments about anything that I maybe forgot to mention, do feel free to leave those down there as well. Always like hearing from you guys. And again, big thank you to USA Gundam Store. Do show them some love. Check the link down there in the description. And as always, guys, hope you're having a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey! Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you want to check the kit out for yourself, you can head over to USA Gundam Store. Use that coupon code ZakuAurelius10. Save yourself 10%. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.